Alright, so protests are going on all over Cuba right now, which is great. I hope they're successful. But successful in what exactly? Well, according to the Socialists, they're rioting over a supposed blockade by the U.S., which is causing all their problems. All over the place, I've seen it far too much today. Socialists keep using this word blockade, which is outright not true. A blockade is when you are physically blocking, usually ports, physically blocking to prevent commerce, to prevent the movement of imports and exports. Okay, we're not doing that at all, so they need to stop using that word. We do have embargoes in place on Cuba, that's true. U.S. companies, with some exceptions, are not allowed to do business with Cuba. We should end that. I'm confident enough that socialism will die on its own, so no need to put on those embargoes, because all that does is give ammunition to the socialists here, and it makes it easier for them to just place blame on the evil so-called capitalist countries. There is a slight problem in that for socialists, though. The spark of these protests was a lack of food and medical supplies, which are precisely the goods that are exempt from the U.S. embargo. U.S. and Cuba can have open trade when it comes to food and medicine, and not for nothing, there are 200 plus other countries on the planet that Cuba can and does trade with. China, Russia, the EU, Australia, the list goes on, yet Cuba is still a disaster. Or is it a disaster? Here we go again with the socialists. For a long time, I think spurred on by the likes of Michael Moore, if you remember, he was big on this, and also plenty of other leftist and socialist types defended Cuba and would constantly say that the impoverishment in Cuba is way overblown, it's all propaganda, they have free education, food is plentiful, they have the highest literacy rates, free healthcare is a guaranteed right in Cuba, and it's good quality healthcare. It's actually really great there in Cuba. And then something like this happens, and now all of a sudden it wasn't really socialism. They never had it to begin with, despite socialists just telling you how it's actually great there because of the socialist revolution. And now they're making excuses for why it's terrible. I'm telling you, it's impossible to keep up with these people. They say that it's terrible because of capitalism now, and that's why people are protesting. Until you watch the footage of the protests where people are outright saying abajo la dictadura, meaning down with the dictator, and they're waving U.S. flags all over the place. It's not to say that the U.S. doesn't deserve some blame in Cuba, but it's not nearly as totalizing as socialists want to make it seem. But it does seem a bit weird that that's the way they choose to protest the U.S. in Cuba, with U.S. flags, all the while directly calling out their government and the dictatorship they live under. A dictatorship that easily slipped in there, as usual, with the cover of the antagonistic socialistic revolution. How many times do we have to see this movie play out? I have no idea, but the protests are great to see. I'm hoping something great comes out of them. I want to see Cuba open up and do well. But anyway, that's all for now. Like, subscribe, share this video. Very much appreciated, and you take it easy.